QueenCityPodcastNetwork.com.
Yo, what's popping, guys? What's popping with the people? This is your boy Dave, one half of PNP. Let me change this up real fast. I'm here, guys. So we're gonna get in. Let me see. Go to this one. We're gonna get into it today. We'll talk about. There ain't really too much to talk about from a Panthers standpoint. I will be taking your questions from the audience too, from the chat today. I'll talk about my experience at Combo Breaker. We'll go into the fact that things, like we talked about the disrespect the other week, but it's starting to keep and continuously pile up, and it's getting bad now. I mean, it's already bad to that point of no return. So I hope you guys had an outstanding Memorial Day weekend. I would like to thank Memorial Day is for the troops who've lost, so to speak. But for those folks, it's funny because I ran into a Korean vet. We chopped it up on my way back from Chicago, and it was kind of surreal with the stories that I was getting. Look, man, I could probably do a whole hour about my Combo Breaker experience because that was fun to say the least. But first of all, I want to apologize to everybody about the confusion about the show tonight. Things have it's been a crazy week for everybody across the board. Shy got personal things he's got to handle. I got personal things I got to handle. We're gonna move it to Thursday night, but then he told me there was something else going on, and I said, all right, I'll just go live tonight. But yeah, man, we're gonna get into it. I'll probably give you guys an hour. We could talk a little bit of NBA, but I'll be honest, guys, I did not watch some of the games in the series because of some of those games over the weekend because I was out of town. But what it boils down to is this. I'm looking at the chat right now. Oh yeah, and the Timberwolves are playing now. And look, man, I had the Celtics winning the series in 5. And I was told that I was insane. But now it looks like it's going to be Dallas looking like Dallas probably going to end up getting this sweep, and Boston already got their sweep. So we're going to have a nice little break prior to the NBA Finals because they said they're not changing the date of when the finals start. So everybody's going to be well rested to go into the NBA Finals. Yo, man, I wasn't going to stream, but then I hit up Shad and he told me the other things going on this week on his side. And I looked at what was going on my side and I said, yeah, I'm going to have to stream now. I can't wait. Because I think I mentioned this on the show in the past. Like my son is in baseball right now, and he's been having baseball games on Tuesdays. So for me, getting here at 8:00 has been difficult over the past couple of weeks. And particularly because like if the game is a high run game, that means the game lasts longer. But tonight it didn't last as long, and this is tonight. I'm crazy enough is their first loss of the season. So they're 9-1. But they're still looking good. I mean, it was a close game, but it was a quick game because it was a little scoring. But overall, NBA Finals is going to be good. I think Celtics Mavs is going to be a pretty good finals to say the least. So we'll see. But all right, I'm gonna ask the chat. Do you guys want me to talk about my Combo Breaker experience? Or do you want to talk about the disrespect the Panthers been having? I'm gonna let y'all pick. So just say in the chat, Combo Breaker or Panthers disrespect. I got to vote for Combo Breaker. I'm going to do both. It's just, what am I doing first? I'm going to need more than 5 or 10 minutes to go over Combo Breaker. I'm going to let you guys know right now. But I'm going to do both. Like, I don't plan on being here more than an hour tonight. So I do plan on doing both. So you're going to get the stories on both ends of the spectrum tonight. All right. I know everybody's focused on the Panthers. Well, it's pretty close. I appreciate it. All right. So I'll start with the Panthers disrespect. Only because, it's pretty much a continue. This Combo Breaker, we know. Combo first, then the disrespect. All right, everybody wants to do combo first. All right. So for those who aren't aware, I went to I went to Combo Breaker, man. Combo Breaker is like a big fighting game tournament out in the Midwest. It's in Chicago and more. This is another small town called Schlungsburg, I think it's, if I pronounce it correctly, in Illinois. It's pretty much right outside Chicago. Like it's about 15 minutes from the O'Hare Airport. First of all, phenomenal venue where they had the event at. It was in this big convention center. Plenty of space. They had a room for most of the tournaments that was going on. Then they had a second room for some of the older tournaments, and the older tournaments like your Third Strikes, your Capcom versus SNK2, and things of that sort. And then they also in there is where you can play casuals. If you bring your own console or computer, which is pretty cool. They have vendors everywhere. I checked out this spot called the Popcorn Baron, where they had like flavored popcorn. Like the popcorn was like, I brought home, these are the flavors I brought home: root beer, butter chicken, strawberry cheesecake, Baron's Reserve, which is like their specialty. Those are the flavors that I brought home. Oh, and maple bacon. Cannot forget maple bacon. So I brought home those flavors. Like the root beer popcorn, I had that while I was down there. It fizzes, y'all. It fizzes. The root beer popcorn is awesome. But from a tournament standpoint, I will say this: time was not on my side when I was trying to prepare for these tournaments. I made a decision to enter 11 tournaments. And it's funny, yo, back to the popcorn for a second. Look, man, they had like close to 60 flavors, 60 different types of flavors, right? So like, I pretty much asked somebody that worked there straight up. I was like, yo, what's the flavor to get? Like, what is the one, right? Outside of the Baron's Reserve, because Baron Reserve is their specialty, right? And no hesitation, my man said butter chicken. I haven't tried it yet. I'm gonna try. The thing is, I got to get some more Ziploc bags because the way that they package them, once you open it, you air it out and and then it goes stale. So I got to get Ziploc bags so I can so it doesn't go stale on me. But the butter chicken, it was no hesitation, was the first flavor he said, and I said, all right, bet that's on the list. I'll grab some, But overall, we'll see. Shot ain't gonna be here tonight. I'm running this one solo. For those who keeps asking, Shot got fatherly duties, ladies and gentlemen, and I do too. That's part of the reason why I was considering not doing the show tonight. But then with the alternate day, it wasn't gonna fall through anyway. So instead of not doing a show this week, I wanted to have a show. But so I entered 11 tournaments. Time was not on my side. And that reality, and I knew that reality setting in probably the week prior going down, because of like I've played at a semi-high level in the past, and I know what it takes. And it was clear that I wasn't where I wanted to be. But I surprisingly won some matches that I didn't think, in some games that I didn't think I was gonna win. And I also lost matches that I thought I had a better shot at. I didn't make it out of pools in any of the tournaments. So the games that I entered, make sure I might probably screw up the order, but the games that I entered: Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, Smash Brothers Ultimate, Guilty Gear Strive, Grand Blue, Fantasy Rising, Grand Review versus Rising, or whatever the order is. The legendary mystery tournament that Chicago does, which was fun, and I'm going to definitely talk about that. The mystery tournament, the Third Strike, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, Vampire Savior, which what you guys would know as Darkstalkers 3 in the States, but in Japan it was known as Vampire Savior. Under Night In Birth 2. And there's 2 more games I missed. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I was trash in that tournament, bruh, in Ultimate. Nah, I didn't do MK. I wasn't a big fan of MK1. Um, I wasn't a fan of MK1. So yeah, Killer Instinct was another one that I entered. I kind of was disappointed in that one. I thought I could have played better there. I ended up going 0-2 in Killer Instinct. Uh, hey, bruh. Hey, bruh. By the numbers, I went 2-2 in Street Fighter 3, and that's because two of my opponents got DQ'd. So, um, I don't know if you would have had a fighter's chance in Street Fighter 3. There were some killers there, bruh. There was some certifiable killers. It's funny. It's funny. That you mentioned Naruto, Deontay. Naruto was one. There was a versus game that had Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, and some other show I never heard of, and it was like a versus. It was like a combined mashup, and that was one of the mystery games. Never played it in my life. I went 0-2 in the mystery tournament too. I went 1-2 in Under Night, 1-2 in Grand Blue, 1-2 in Street Fighter 6, 1-2 in Strive, and I went 0-2 in everything else. And I know folks are like, "Damn, that's tough. You ain't hardly do that well." No, it wasn't Jump Force. It wasn't Jump Force, bruh. It wasn't Jump Force. It was a game based out of Japan. Matter of fact, what's the name of that? I wrote it down. The name of it. Let me see. I put it in my notes. The name of this game was Battle Station DON. Battle Stadium DON. And the DON stands for Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, and Naruto. So it was based on that. And bruh, the controls were terrible. And so that was the first round of the mystery tournament. The second round of the mystery tournament was Punch Out, but it wasn't what you punch out on Wii, but it was the head-to-head portion of Punch Out with motion controls. So it was very. I didn't win that one. Yeah, that game is terrible, bruh. The inputs were delayed. Half the inputs wouldn't work. It was bad. But I went 0-2. Like I came close in the first match because the first round was that. And the way that the mystery tournament works for those who don't know, every round it's a different game. So like the key for that is adaptation. Every round is a different game. So like one round, and the thing is, it doesn't mean it's going to be a fighting game. It just has to have a versus component. So you could get caught up doing some random Tetris type game, some puzzle game. If it's a versus format, it'll work. That out of all the tournaments that I was looking forward to doing, that was the one because that's what that tournament is legendary for that event. So for me, when you want to talk about something that I was looking forward to doing, it was that. And with regards to the tournaments that I was in, I was on stream for 4 of them. So I'm like, if you look up the streams, I'm there getting my ass kicked. I don't think I won any of them that were on stream. I know I didn't win any of them that was on stream. I got my ass kicking all 4 of them. I was on stream for Third Strike. I was on stream for Vampire Savior. I was on stream for Under Night In Birth 2, and I was on stream for Tekken 8. I was on stream for all 4. Yo, and here's the beauty of it. So when I can find the links, I have to go. I got a schedule. I can look up the Twitch channels where they're all are on. The mystery tournament. The beauty of what the dopest thing about the mystery tournament was for top 8. The first round for top 8 was a game that isn't even out yet. For those that are League of Legends fans, this is a fighting game coming out called 2XKO, formerly known as Project L. So the developers and the team was there, and they brought the arcade cabinets there so folks could play them during the weekend. For 72 straight hours, they were open. They had a 24/7 arcade area, and the venue, once it opened up, it was open 24/7. So you can have casuals anytime you want and things of that sort. And so that's what that was one of the things that I partaked in too. I didn't really get to do the 24/7 thing like that. For a myriad of reasons, but like the venue, it was a phenomenal event to say the least. But I wanted to shout out some folks, man. There was a guy from Charlotte. Since we're talking about the Panthers, there was a guy from Charlotte, North Carolina, known as Hendo. who entered Tekken 8. He placed 13th place. He lost to the guys that were in grand finals. Because remember, the tournaments are double elimination. So one of the best Tekken players in the world lives in Charlotte, North Carolina. And he's plans on going to Evo, so I'm hoping to chop it up with him. He partakes in the tournament down in that happens in Greensboro that my buddy Brandon does. So he partakes in those tournaments occasionally. But shout out to him. He fought the good fight. He ended up facing the guys that ended up in grand finals. Those are the two people he lost to in the entire tournament. So props to him. But he ended up getting 13th place. I didn't ask him if he was a Panthers fan, to be honest with you, because I mean, when I got to talk to him, it was right after he got eliminated from the tournament. So I know it was tough on him because there were I was watching the match and there was a lot of opportunities that he had. But, those are the breaks, man. You can't be mad. You can be disappointed that you didn't make top 8, but you can't be mad about the people you lost to. I mean, he lost to the guys that made it to the grand finals. So I mean, that's admirable as hell. There ain't too many folks that can say that in the bracket, because sometimes the bracket is also about the draw that you get. You kind of can't control the draw that you have. Oh God, I don't know, man. I think first place takes 42% of the pot. There were over 1,600 players in Tekken. That was the largest tournament. Killer Instinct had a I think it was a $15,000 pool. They added to the pool. I think Tekken had another 10,000, if I remember correctly. But Tekken, as size wise, was the largest tournament there. It was Tekken, then Street Fighter, then Guilty Gear Strive, and then Grand Blue. I think those were the top 4. But nah, it was fun. I got work there's work that needs to be done. I'm going to Evo. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, man, like I think if you're into like gaming, I'll go shoot me a DM, Ghost Daddy, and I'll send you the I got a photo of all the different channels that they were on over the weekend. And I can even give you my schedule so you can try to find me, so it makes life a little bit easier for you. Because they pretty much have tournaments around the clock that were all happening at the same time, and pools were happening in different areas of the area. So it was well organized, though. I will say there were occasions where I was an hour in between tournaments, and they made it work. So props to everybody that busted their behind to do it. But yeah, man, one thing I learned, and somebody said it earlier, and I'm gonna find that comment. There it is. I don't think some people realize how difficult these tournaments are coming. It's people who are masters at combo sequences. That is a fact, Jack. And that's the key. Like, you can come in with a plan, but that plan doesn't mean much if you're not ready for the whole nine. But like in Street Fighter 6, the guy that won that tournament, he did it with a character that's considered low tier, which I wasn't buying when I was watching those matches, bruh. But I will say sometimes it's about the player too. From that standpoint. How do you get DQ? You don't show up for your match. That's how you get DQ'd. I mean, I'm pretty sure there might be people that might have cheated, but like most DQs happen if they don't show up for their match. And the crazy thing is, like, when the guys that got DQ for third strike, the tournament organizer gave them plenty of opportunity to show up. Like, I think I didn't have my first match until they didn't DQ the individual until 20 minutes in. And typically the rule is 5 to 10 minutes. And they respect you to be there 10 minutes prior, unless you have a conflict. And props to them too for this as well. The conflicts were noted. So if they knew folks were doing back-to-back tournaments, it was easy to tell what the conflicts were. Overall, though, I think I did, considering the circumstances, I did okay. I think I should have done better in Street Fighter 6. I felt like the match I got eliminated in, I really screwed the pooch there, so to speak. I probably should have won that match, but it is what it is now. That, like, of all the losses I had, I think that one bothered me the most. All the other ones was like, all right, it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, it all depends, man. Like, I think it's important to understand the frame data. But I think reaction is more important than anything else. But I think understanding the frame data is key. And I'll be honest with you. I didn't take enough time to study the frame data like I probably should have. And I think that probably would have helped me out a little bit. I don't know if it would have got me out of pools, but I think that would have helped me. Oh yeah, the 11th game was King of Fighters 15. And I met some pretty good players there. That was pretty cool. But I think I think that's the key. Like I think for me, it's about um you gotta study the frame data to get an idea, particularly at a minimum with the characters that you want to utilize, and then do some level of analysis. I think I only had the bandwidth to do it for one game out of the 11 that I entered. And even then, I didn't do everything. I mean, the big key there is like when you're working from behind, you gotta catch up rather quickly. There's some things that you can do to get a little bit better quick, but there were some games like Grand Blue that I didn't really hard to take any time in, and I thought I played well. I had a chance to win my first match. I ended up losing, um, and then there was the second match, and I ended up winning, and I ended up getting eliminated in the third match. So it all depends. I think the big key though, and what I learned real fast is that it's imperative that you win your first match because you want to keep your momentum going and try to stay in winners as long as possible. It's funny. The finals of Tekken was a guy from Pakistan and a guy from the Philippines, and the guy from the Philippines placed second place numerous times in these Tekken tournaments. And he finally broke through, so he was ecstatic to say the least. Yeah, man, that's where I played Third Strike. I played Third Strike on Fightcade. Only because those are where the killers are. That's where they play. I can't. I'm not going to get better playing the computer. I'm not going to get better playing guys that are just okay in it. So I play on Fightcade. I try to play like for some of the retro games that I'm going to probably enter in the tournaments. I try to play on Fightcade. I thought about like for Eva. I thought about entering CVS too, but I have a feeling it's going to take me a long time to get myself ready for that. Oh no doubt, man. Like I gotta get my third strike swag back, man. That it was clear. Like casuals, I was doing okay, but when it got in attorney time, it got brutal fast, brutal, real fast. But yeah, absolutely, 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 man. Anybody that wants to play anything, just let me know. Just shoot me a message, and I'm in, and I'll make it happen because I like having fun. Ultimately, but ultimately, man, Combo Breaker was great. Um, it was a it was eye-opening from the standpoint like I knew that there were good players and things of that nature, but I also know that there's an amount of attrition and time that it takes to get good at these things, and the memory stack that's required, it's a lot. You know, you know. I mean, I play most of my things. I do PC, PS5, Xbox. I got all three. I make it happen on all three. But most of these systems nowadays are crossplay. So it's not that hard to get matches in. Like a lot of the fighting games nowadays are crossplay. But overall, man, it was a blast. It was a good time. Spent a lot of money. Probably spent on there. Probably shouldn't have spent, but it is what it is. But let's there was let's get into the Panthers disrespect, man. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think what annoyed me about what's going on with the Panthers is that SI dropped an article talking about how they're going to be the worst team in the NFL. And I will say I was kind of annoyed by it. And I'm trying to find it, and of course now I can't find the damn thing. Let's see here. Oof. Unless they took it down. I literally just saw the damn article. But overall, man, I just think that from the Panthers from my perspective, Yeah. Somebody from Fan Nation wrote this article. Why the Panthers will be the worst team in the NFL. And the things that they said was defensive shortcomings, inexperienced leadership, protection shortcomings, and I feel like it's kind of short sighted. Defensive shortcomings. While I think Evero has done a pretty good job with with the players that he had, and I think our defense was probably one of our top. I'll go over the three. I think our defense has been one of the more positive things that we saw last season. And while we have lost players, we have plugged in other players. And I understand the concern regarding rushing the passer. I think my bigger issue has always been the run defense. But I think overall we're gonna be okay. Um I think we're gonna be better. We'll get more than 27 sacks that we got last year. I don't anticipate us being that bad defensively. I think picking up Jadeveon Clowney is gonna help. Um but I don't want I'm not ready to call us the worst team in the league. Um I think a lot of things would have to happen for me to get to that point again right now. As for inexperienced leadership, I think we saw last year that having experienced leadership ain't necessarily everything that you need. I mean, Frank Reich was hired last year and he was known to be somebody that was a leader of men. And we saw how well that worked out for us last season. I mean, what's the over, Tony? Please let me know what the over is. I'm kind of curious. But I will say, but going back to the defense discussion real fast, I will say this: if Evero has another performance like he did last season, he will be a head coach after this season. There's no question. Inexperienced leadership, though. I Canals has never been a head coach, but you know, I think we all can agree that it's going to require somebody to grow into the position. Um, I mean, like, what do I mean disrespect? I mean, bro, like most teams that are the worst in the NFL the previous year don't tend to not be the worst in the league the following year. It's always somebody else. Um, so I just don't think. I think that's kind of short sighted to just assume that again. Um, I think coaching was a big factor last season, and I think we showed that up a little bit. I think I respect Canals enough to think that he's going to be able to adapt and adjust. That was something that Frank Wright wasn't good at necessarily doing. That's just my opinion on that matter. Um, I mean, we already got the disrespect was enough by not having any primetime games this year. I mean, I think that was enough. Protection shortcomings. I think we kind of helped that out in free agency. I understand folks are still concerned about the center position. But I think with Brady Christensen potentially playing center, I think we're going to be okay there. And I think that will be an upgrade from what we had last season. And I think what the acquisition of Robert Hunt's going to help. I think you know, I think we'll be fine. But Paul, like I said, bro, 5 to 6 wins ain't worst team in the league. Like that's my thing. I think the article is short sighted. I would share it, but I'm not going to. I just think the article is like really short sighted from that standpoint. When you start talking about the Panthers being the worst team in the league, I think it's lazy. I think we can do better from that standpoint. When you start talking about the team, I think there's every reason to to expect us to not make the playoffs next season, but I don't think we're going to be the worst team in the league again. Um, no, I mean, I do agree here. I mean, we do need to get another corner. Gilmore would be nice. I'm starting to think that that's not going to happen. So brace yourself, guys. But I still think Evero will find a way to hide that, to mask it, because I think Evero knows how to dial up a defense. So I think overall, I think we'll be able to figure that out. But overall, man, I wanted to I wanted to get y'all thoughts on the article. If you guys read the article, I don't think it's worth too much of your time. Um, but overall, man, I think this season is going to be interesting. I think us being disrespected the way that we have might be a benefit to us, because that's easy bulletin board material. So it'll be fascinating to see how it goes. I don't disagree here, but it all comes down to whether or not we can pay somebody, and if we're willing to pay them the money that they want. But from the Panthers standpoint, I really think we need to be prepared. I think this is going to be phenomenal bulletin board material. They didn't believe in you. You ain't getting no primetime games, or you got a bunch of 1 o'clock games. So I think those things are going to help the team from that standpoint. It's an easy thing for Dave Canales to kind of just keep poking at with the squad from that aspect. So I really didn't have too much today from the Panthers, to be honest with you guys, and primarily because it's kind of been a slow news week. I mean, even on the Panthers Twitter, I think they're struggling to find posts too. I mean, I've seen posts about them talking about Pep going to the Hall of Fame and things of that sort. But I'm I'm open to take questions for a little bit until, and then we probably shut it down. You're worse than me, bro. You can't be out here. You can't be out here getting married during the NFL season. I got married during the. I missed Cam's debut because I was on a cruise for my wedding. Look what that got me. Now I'm a divorce. It is what it is. But I'm happy for you, bro, and congrats on getting married, because I mean that is a different type of sacrifice, to say the least. We picked up Willie Drew from Virginia State, so we already picked up the HBCU corner, and arguably he was one of the better ones. I mean, the best one was probably Mikey Victor, but I think he ended up with the Patriots, if I remember correctly. So I had a badass man cave when I was married too, bro. That's one thing that has to stay. I don't know. It's hard to trust the Hornets. It's just hard to trust the Hornets. I'm rooting for them, but it's just hard to trust the Hornets. And another thing, and as a whole, when it comes to the NBA, it's clear that you do not have that much time as an NBA coach. So I'm wondering how much time they're going to give him. Like I don't know how much time they're going to give my guy, and that's the scary part. Like you got to give some of these coaches some times. So we'll see. Why am I a savage, man? Why am I a savage? I did not see the trailer yet. I saw that it came out, but I have not watched the trailer yet. I'm not ready to give up on LaMelo yet, and the Hornets shouldn't either, bro. Yo, what happened to the Bucks? I'm gonna be keeping a buck with y'all. No pun intended. They deserved everything they got this season. The way they handled that whole situation, they brought Doc Rivers as a consultant, and he turned into the head coach. They deserve what they get this season. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. They deserve every bit of what they got this season. Question: Panthers record over under 6.5. I had us winning 8 games, so I'm taking the over, boss. Off topic: would you rather have any one All Pro player or 2 players that haven't made a Pro Bowl? Which players or players would you want? I'm gonna take the All Pro player. Can we get Aaron Donald out of retirement? That's not. So they took the GameStop money and sold it all to go to buy the Hornets. Boy, you want to talk about a haul? They probably got a better. I think the Hornets is a better entity than GameStop right now. So there's that. I listen, man. I enjoy watching NBA in spurts, but you know what's not a joke? The WNBA. Them girls are physical. I tell you, physical, physical, physical. You want Mahomes? You just gonna go straight for the gutter, huh? Just get Mahomes. Nah, I mean, there's more to it than just having Mahomes. Even Mahomes need help on the defensive side of the ball to be successful. You know, J. Cole ended up outside. I, before he dropped that verse for whoever the heck he dropped that verse for a few days ago, J. Cole was looking pretty good in this situation. This whole Kendrick Drake situation. I'll keep it a boat with you. I felt like J. Cole, when it was all said and done, ended up being a wise man of them all. But I guess Schoolboy Q gave him a warning shot during the festival and told him, "Yeah, man, you don't want to get involved in this." So Schoolboy Q is a real friend. Everybody need to have friends like that. Like he just said, "Look, man, I don't know if this is where you want to go." Now I'm pretty sure Jordan did okay. I don't know, and I don't know if I care. I don't think I care. I mean, will it be the game of the week because she's there? Probably not. Well, it might be if we're actually good though. It depends. I think the key for that to happen is if we're good. I think there's a distinct difference between all pro and pro bowlers though. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Like I think there's a distinct difference between a pro bowler and an all pro. No. I don't think so. I'm not it's not worth the draft capital it's gonna take. We can't afford them. And I know we can afford them, but the reality is we can't afford them because it's going to take draft capital I'm not willing to give up. I have no idea what happened to. I have no idea. I mean, there's nothing wrong with these players wanting to be private with their family, though. I will say that. Like we have an edge rusher. His name is Jadeveon Clowney. Oh, the game's good. That's good to hear. I haven't turned the game on yet. I'll probably pop it on after the show. See what's going on with the game. If Bryce struggles again this year, he has one more year to prove himself before we're going to move on. 3 years, guys. I'm sorry. 3 years. 3 years. Like we gotta quit making. We gotta quit talking like the guys are a bust after a year or two. I mean, sometimes it takes 3 years for somebody to develop. Um, and there ain't no quarterback in 2025 that's gonna save us. So, you know, Bryce gonna get three seasons to figure this out. And then after the third season, you got to decide on the fifth year option. They'll know then because in that point you got to start thinking about it's going to be on Canales as well at that point. So if Canales is still the coach after 2 years with Bryce Young, if he doesn't feel like he's the guy, they're not going to exercise fifth year option. They'll probably look for a quarterback in 2026. I mean, that's just the reality of it. I think anybody that thinks that Bryce isn't going to get 3 seasons is kidding themselves. He's going to get three, he probably get four. So like we got to stop the madness when it comes to this. Bryce is going to get every opportunity to succeed. Every opportunity. So, and then after 3 or 4 years go down, and if it doesn't work out, then we'll be having the discussions about why didn't we draft this guy or that guy or this, and then they become legitimate discussion points. But right now, you know, it's too early to say, in my opinion. It's too early to say with regards to that. Nah, bruh. Nah, bruh. He gonna be the owner until he wants to sell the team. Checking to see if I missed anything. But yeah, but before I get ready to go, I also need to do Underdog Fantasy. So shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Use the promo code PNP. Go to underdogfantasy.com and use the promo code PNP when you do. Uh, their product is awesome. I've won a lot of money on Underdog Fantasy. They're higher and lowers with regards to the points and things and that stuff, and now they do live, so you can do your higher and lowers during live games as well. I might do one for the NBA Finals game right now between the Timberwolves, the NBA Western Conference Finals game right now between the Timberwolves and the Mavericks. So all you got to do is go to underdogfantasy.com and use the promo code PNP when you sign up. They're still doing a deposit match up to a certain amount. Shout out to them; they've been a phenomenal sponsor. And yeah, Underdog Fantasy. But you know, uh, I'm gonna give you guys some quick updates too. With regards to fantasy football, the dynasty draft, the dynasty league. I'm gonna probably try to get that going next month. I'll probably set the draft date to late June. I'm gonna reach out to the guys and gals and make sure that we're on the same page. We'll do the redraft league as well. I gotta get Tony in there, so I'm gonna figure that out because I felt bad because Tony should have been in it last year. Um, but yeah, So last call before I shut this thing down. We'll be back live next Tuesday. Hopefully, we ain't got no crazy conflicts like we did this week. But I'm gonna do a couple more. I'm gonna do one more combo breaker shout out. Shout out to Ramsey. Ramsey is a Zangief player on Street Fighter 6. He made top 8, but he also I end up he ended up sitting at the same table while we were eating lunch. Me and my friend was eating lunch, and we started getting into a whole conversation of about the podcast, and he subscribed immediately. So shout out to Ramsey and or Ramsey on Twitter, but Marcus is his actual name. My man made top 8. Didn't realize he was the top player. We were just having conversations. He said he was still in it, but I didn't realize he was in it like that. My man did his thing with Zangief, which is impressive. I'm always an advocate of players who put in the work with characters that aren't necessarily the top character in the game, because that means it shows your skill set, and that means your mental stack is phenomenal. Like the guy that won the championship in Street Fighter 6, he used Lily, which is one of the worst characters, which according to folks is the worst character in the game, and used her to perfection. Perfection, I tell you. Last question, I'm gonna shut it down. I have not watched X-Men 97. I've heard nothing but good things about it. But so I'm probably gonna try to tune in at some point. Don't spoil nothing for me. At some point I'll probably binge it. I mean, I'm a Honda player primarily. I'm doing Honda and Ryu. Um, Honda's not an easy player to navigate through, man, in some of these matchups. He's a disadvantage in most matchups. But yeah, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut this thing down. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. On YouTube, on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at Panther Nation PC. And things and everything else where you can find your social media platforms. Make sure you watch the podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Google, the whole 9. Give us 5 stars. The audio is phenomenal, if I do say so myself. So check it out. And with that, it's been real, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.